Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So the theme of this week's meal prep is simple. This has been such a chaotic week. I just wanted to end the week with something simple and easy, and a meal prep though that would set me up to have just a really good week and make me feel less stressed for sure. So I had some leftover pumpkin in the fridge, so I decided to try my hand at making some keto pumpkin muffins and decided to throw some pecans in just for fun. So in a bowl, I have a half of a cup of softened butter and 2/3 of a cup of Lakanto monkfruit sweetener. I got a lot of questions about what kind of sweetener I'm using since starting keto. Hands down, my favorite to work with is the monkfruit. I don't know what other brands make monkfruit sweetener. I only see the Lakanto brand in my stores all the time. So if you can't find it in your stores though, you can get it on Amazon or from their website. I will have a link down below for you. I find mine at Grocery Outlet. That's a really good place to find it too. So now that my butter and sweetener have creamed up nicely, I'm adding in 4 eggs, 3/4 of a cup of pumpkin, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I'm going to blend that up and then just put it aside. So in another bowl, I'm combining 1.5 cups of almond flour, a half of a cup of coconut flour, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. I originally started out when I tested this recipe using 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, but everybody said who tried it, it just wasn't pumpkin-y enough. So definitely I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon next time. So try that out, you guys. So stir that up well, and I scored a really good deal on pecans a couple weeks ago, so that's why I wanted to add them into the muffins. So I have 1 cup of whole pecans. I'm going to go ahead and chop those up and add them to the dry ingredients. Now I'm just mixing the dry and wet ingredients together and mixing up really well. So one thing I've learned working with almond flour is that it can be really hard to mix up. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I just kept digging like deeper and deeper in the bowl, and it just kept finding more and more unmixed flour. And even after I scooped them into the muffin tins, they still had a little bit of unmixed flour. So just make sure you get it mixed up really well. So you're going to put your muffins into a greased muffin tin. This particular batch made 15 muffins. I think you could probably get 16 out of it. I thought it was only gonna be 12 originally, and then I had so much batter left over, so just, you can probably get more than 15 out of it. So go ahead and place those into a 350-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. I checked on mine after 20 minutes and they weren't quite done, so really just gonna depend on your oven. But these, you guys, turned out so good. Everybody in the house really liked them. Again, the only comment was about the pumpkin pie spice, and these are only 3 net carbs each. And if you have 2 of them, it's 5 net carbs. So these are really super good. So I was out of my taco seasoning, so I wanted to mix up another batch. This is actually a new recipe that I have been trying out. I am not a huge fan of chili powder, and I feel like all the other taco seasoning recipes out there are really chili powder forward. And so I wanted to kind of mix it up, and I've just been trying a different combination of ingredients and measurements. So this is what I've been using the last couple times, and it's been turning out really, really well. Another thing is I like how the packets are thicker. Like when you buy the taco seasoning packets, it kind of thickens up the meat. So I did add in some xanthan gum for that. So here's the combination I've been coming up with. I have 4 tablespoons of dried onion flakes, 3 teaspoons of beef bouillon, 2 teaspoons of xanthan gum, 4 teaspoons of garlic powder, 4 teaspoons of cumin, 4 teaspoons of paprika, 4 teaspoons of chili powder, and then also 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper if you like it spicy, which I do. So this batch is enough to make up to 4 pounds of ground meat, and you're going to want to add in also like a 1/4 cup of water to your meat mixture. I cannot remember how much. I think it's just 1.5 tablespoons per batch of meat. You may have to measure out the batch and see how many tablespoons this whole batch is. So you want to go ahead and pour it into an airtight container to store. And yes, I am messy. If you're new here, my name is Jess and I am a messy cook. And sometimes I also mispronounce words. So forgive me for that. But seriously, if you're new here, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. I would love to have you a part of my little family over here. So the next thing I'm going to make are a couple of dressings that I'm going to use for salads through the week. So first up, I'm going to make my favorite ranch dressing. In my little bowl here, I have a 1 cup of mayo. To that, I'm adding in a 1/4 cup of heavy cream, a 1/4 cup of sour cream, some ranch seasonings that I mix up, like ahead of time. I will have that recipe linked down below, the one I use. A half of a teaspoon of pepper, an eighth of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and a 3/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. So again, if you're not really a fan of spiciness, you want to leave out the cayenne pepper. I just like that little bit of spice in my ranch dressing. So I always store this in a mason jar in my refrigerator. So the second dressing is one that I will use for my Italian salad that I like to have for lunches. It's also good on just regular salad too. It's a fantastic dressing. So in my bowl, I have 1 cup of mayo, 4 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of avocado oil, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and 2 teaspoons of Italian herbs. I absolutely love this dressing so much. I think you guys will like it too. So I'm making good progress so far on my list. I didn't have a very big list this week, but I love to still check them off as I get them done. So for a breakfast option this week, I'm going to be making some jalapeno popper egg muffins. I've made these several times and they are so quick and easy, and you just pop them in the microwave, heat them up, and they are so ooey gooey good. So I have 1 jalapeno that I am deseeding and dicing up. You also need 2 ounces of cheese that you're cutting into cubes. I'm just using Colby Jack because that's what I always have on hand. 3 ounces of cream cheese that you also cut into cubes, well, as much of cubes as you can with cream cheese. You're going to get all this ready, and we're going to move on to the eggs. So we're going to need 6 eggs for this recipe. To the eggs, I'm adding in some onion salt, some pepper, and garlic powder. You guys probably noticed I like my spice. So to your muffin tin, you want to add in the cubed cheese, the cubed cream cheese, the jalapeno, and then also some bacon bits. And then you're just going to pour that egg mixture on top. And then you're going to bake this in a 350-degree oven for, again, about 20 to 25 minutes. Again, just depending on your oven. I took mine out about 20 minutes and it wasn't quite done. So I think I cooked them for like 22 minutes total. If you guys make these, please tag me on social media so you can tell me how much you love them, because I absolutely love them and I think you guys will too. I'll have my Instagram here on the screen. So I have a couple of dinners this week that are requiring marinating. The marinade is going to be for, this marinade is going to be for some chicken thighs or drumsticks. I'm not sure which one I'm going to have yet. I have both in the freezer. In my measuring cup, I am adding in a half of a cup of the Lakanto maple syrup. Again, I love the Lakanto brand. This maple syrup is super good to use for recipes. Also adding in a half of a cup of coarse ground Dijon mustard. I always prefer the coarse ground mustards for any kind of marinades or dressings. I just feel like it just adds so much more flavor. Also adding in 3 tablespoons of coconut aminos and 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. This marinade is just so good. So I will be using this later in the week. The second marinade is going to be for some steaks that we're actually having for dinner tonight. So I want to go ahead and get my steaks marinating. So for this marinade, I'm just using the Grill Mates Montreal steak marinade. I noticed it does not, I think it has like less than 1 carb in it is what it says. So I'm not too worried about it. I mean, it's probably not the cleanest ingredients, but you know, we just do what we got to do. So I'm following the instructions on the back of the little packet. I'm adding in the red wine vinegar, some water, and avocado oil. So I'm just going to add in my steaks in a Ziploc bag and pour in the marinade on top, and these will be so ready to go when it's time to make dinner tonight. So 2 more things checked off my list. Tell me, you guys, how satisfying it is to check things off a list. Is it just me? I love checking things off a list. So I had some bell peppers, onions, and steak strips to use up from last week that I did not make for dinner. So I'm going to go ahead and throw together the Philly steak bowl for a couple of my lunches this week. So I'm cutting up the bell peppers into strips and thinly slicing up the onion. While I'm doing this, I have a skillet heating up with 1 tablespoon of butter. So now that the veggies are all cut and the skillet is hot, in they go. I'm also adding in some onion salt and some pepper. So I'm just going to allow these to cook up a little bit. I did add a little bit of water to the pan and put a lid on there, and that helps soften them up a lot quicker. So now that the veggies are all softened, I'm going to remove them from the skillet. Adding in another tablespoon of butter, and I also turn my skillet up just a little bit because I'm going to add in the steak, and I really like my steak to get a good sear on it. It just feels like it just makes it a lot more tender. So when the steak is just mostly cooked through, I'm going to add back in the veggies, and then I'm going to top it off with some of these slices of smoked provolone cheese. So this is going to easily make about 3 lunches for us this week, and I cannot wait to have it. So for another one of my lunches, I'm going to make that salad. I mentioned earlier an Italian salad that I'll be using that creamy Italian dressing for. So good. So I'm going to have this for Monday, so I'm going to go ahead and get it prepped up. I have a serving of salami here, also a serving of pepperoni. So I'm just going to cut those up into little pieces. And then in my salad bowl, I'm adding in some spring mix, topping that off with some mozzarella cheese, the meat, and then finally some sliced up pepperoncinis. Is that how you say that? I think you guys know what I'm talking about. So this salad is just amazing with that creamy Italian dressing. So you guys have got to try this salad. Really do, really, really do. So just stop what you're doing and go try this salad. So I always do what I call basic prep, and today I'm chopping up some green onions, making some hard-boiled eggs in the pressure cooker, and also making some bacon in the air fryer. These are just little things that I do throughout the week just to make sure I have all these things on hand in the refrigerator. So everything is checked off my list. So satisfying. So as usual, look at the description box, you guys, for recipes and information about the products that I'm using. I always have things down there also about the meal prep containers I use. And please just give this video a thumbs up. I would love to see us get 100 likes on this video. I would just absolutely love that if you guys give me that much love. Please subscribe if you have not already done so, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.